Well, hello. Today I wanted to just have a quick look at the Victorinox Tinker. You can get this model in a version called the Super Tinker, which adds a pair of scissors, and you can get this also a Deluxe Tinker, which adds a set of scissors and a set of the mini pliers as well. I do have a Deluxe Tinker here, and I absolutely love this model. I find the pliers really useful for very small tasks from day to day. Big fan of those. But I've never owned just a standard Tinker before in my life, and the reason why I bought this was for doing like DIY rough stuff, mucky jobs around the home. I did used to have a very manual job previously. I don't anymore, but I've been doing quite a lot of renovations at home, and previously the knife that I'd probably shove in my pocket to have as a backup tool was something like a Spartan. Really good basic knife, the quintessential Swiss Army knife, isn't it really? The classic, the Spartan. And the reason why I've been carrying one of these if I'm doing rough work is because it's got a really decent set of tools on it to use as backup tools, and they're just so cheap that I don't care really if they get battered, scuffed, scratched, or even broken. But then I thought, well, corkscrew, that's of literally almost no use at all that I can think of if I'm doing like DIY work. So I thought, well, what else is there that's cheap, slim, compact, sturdy? And the answer was, well, it's the Victorinox Tinker. 91mm model, just 2-layer knife, weighs 2.2 ounces or 63 grams. So yeah, let's have a look at the tool set on this knife and why I think it's an excellent choice as a little backup tool if you're going to be doing any kind of manual work. I think this is a great choice as a knife. So you get the large main blade and a secondary smaller blade on there. There's dozens of obvious uses, isn't there, for a bladed tool? Opening packaging, cutting bags open, cutting off cable ties, sharpening my pencil if I need to make marks on walls or measurements or whatever. One of mankind's oldest and most useful tools, isn't it? A blade. So yeah, a couple of decent blades on there, perfectly adequate for the little stuff I might need to do if I'm doing any DIY work or stuff like that. Now on one side you get a can opener. I'm not going to really need to use a can opener while I'm doing any DIY, but it does have this little slotted screwdriver on the end, which is quite good on Phillips screws. So nice and useful, definitely, to have a small slotted screwdriver. And like I say, it does do double duty on Phillips screws as well. Opposite end of the knife to that, you get the excellent slotted screwdriver tool, which has a cap lifter. I might want a couple of cold beers at the end of the day, so yeah, that's good. And this is an excellent kind of quite heavy duty slotted screwdriver, useful. This is a sturdy little tool and it makes a great scraper, prodder, little pry tool, just perfect for popping lids off paint cans and things like that. Really excellent, sturdy little tool, dead handy to have. You've got a wire stripper, wire bender in there as well, haven't you? So yeah, really useful little tool. So that's all you get on that side. And of course in the scales you get the tweezers. On a toothpick, I had a load of plus scales kicking around, so I've just added a little plus scale onto this side, by which I've also gained capacity to carry the pressurised ballpoint pen. Again, potentially useful for marking stuff or writing notes down and that if I'm on a job. Then on the back side you get the awl. Victorinox awl is a fantastic tool, really stout and sturdy, sharpened section on here with a good point, fantastic for making holes. Sometimes use this for starting off pilot holes for screwing and things like that. Just a sturdy, thick, scrapery type blade on there. Potentially a dead useful tool to have if you're doing any kind of little manual work, I think. And then what differentiates this from like the Spartan is the addition of this backside Phillips screwdriver. It's really beautifully cut and very secure in use. I have to say, I've always maintained I'm not a massive fan of the backside Phillips screwdriver on Victorinox knives because it can be a bit awkward to use in tight gaps, like in corners and things. It won't turn. Also, you can potentially apply a load of really great torque with this because of the position. But if you apply too much torque to it, you will bend the liners. There's my Deluxe Tinker here. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, the liners are a bit bent out there where I've applied a bit too much torque on it. So you do still have to go careful with that. But I figured, well, a Phillips driver, the world's held together, isn't it, by Phillips screws? Well, it seems to be largely to me, certainly where I live, so I've got no use really for a corkscrew. So having that Phillips on there is definitely a good idea and a bonus for when I'm doing like manual type jobs. Whilst, as I said, the little end of the small slide screwdriver will turn Phillips screws, it's not ever so sturdy, and these have been known to bend ever so slightly if you're putting a bit too much pressure on them. These can deform. Great having an inline facility for turning screws. Phillips screws are everywhere where I live, and having this dedicated Phillips on here is useful. So yeah, if I'm doing DIY work or stuff like that, you know, why not just carry the Swiss Champ? Feature packed little beauty, isn't it? The Swiss Champ. Well, yeah, it's great, but I'm going to be using proper tools for doing proper jobs. For me, Swiss Army knives are always like they're a backup, aren't they? They're to have something with you for when or if you haven't got access to proper tools. So as much as I love the Swiss Champ, if I'm doing specific jobs, well, I'll have tools to do those jobs, and I just want something small, light, that's in my pocket, and I can just whip it out if I'm, say, up a ladder or something and I need to do something. Well, I'll just pull this out. Great. Also, because these are so cheap, I paid 19 quid for this. Again, as I said at the start, I don't care if this gets knackered, really. 19 quid. What's a Swiss Champ nowadays? I actually don't know. Let's say 95, 100 quid for one of them. I don't want to be knackering it up, do I? Snapping a blade or something. Oh dear, no. This, I don't care so much. If I need a pair of pliers, I've got some Knipex there. Fantastic. Much more useful for actual hard work than these, as much as I love them, than these little Victorinox pliers. So yeah, Victorinox Tinker. Cheap, sturdy, excellent little backup tool. And in all my years of carrying Swiss Army knives, I've never had one before. And yeah, really like it. Going to get to put to some good use tomorrow, and I'll report back perhaps with a summary of how it's been. But yeah, what do you guys reckon to this tool? Oh, forgot to say as well, I did put a little pin in there as well. So yeah, anyone else a fan of these? Just the standard Victorinox Tinker. I think this is a lovely little option as a little backup pocket tool to have to hand. Something that you don't mind putting through some rough use. Very cool. Let me know what you think of this one, chaps. And as ever, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in the next one. Ta-ta for now.